Disclaimer: this content is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. It was early Sunday morning, and the soft sunlight filtered through the sheer curtains of a cozy New York apartment. Al, a man in his late 20s with a quiet charm and a heart full of love, turned over in bed to find his wife, Emily, still peacefully sleeping. Her hair was gently spread across the pillow, and for a moment, he simply watched her, realizing how lucky he was to share his life with her. But today wasn't just any ordinary morning. There was something different in the air, an unspoken tension, a playful yet intense energy between them that neither could ignore. Last night had been unforgettable. After dinner at their favorite rooftop restaurant, where city lights twinkled like stars, they had returned home full of laughter and stories. But what followed behind those closed doors was a new chapter in their love story, deeper, more passionate, and tender all at once. Now, as Al gently brushed a strand of hair from Emily's face, he leaned in close, his voice soft yet firm, whispering words that carried both affection and desire. "I'm not letting you out of this bed," he said with a teasing smile that held more meaning than she could grasp in that sleepy moment. Emily stirred, a lazy grin spreading across her face, both amused and intrigued by his playful possessiveness. But she also knew her husband too well. Behind those sweet words was a challenge, one that promised the day would be far from predictable. And true to his word, Al wasn't ready to let go just yet. Their relationship was built on trust, love, and moments like these, when everyday life melted away, leaving only the two of them, caught in a dance of laughter, affection, and yes, a little friendly mischief. But just as their morning seemed wrapped in peaceful bliss, a sudden buzz from Al's phone broke the moment. A message flashed across the screen, pulling him momentarily out of their bubble. Emily noticed the brief shadow that crossed his face and playfully nudged him. "What's going on, Al?" He hesitated, brushing it off with a smile, but something about his silence hinted that the day ahead might bring more than just stolen kisses and lazy cuddles. As the camera slowly zooms out, capturing their warm embrace against the backdrop of the sun-drenched room, the story leaves you wondering, what is Al hiding? And will this playful morning turn into a day full of unexpected twists in their relationship? Stay tuned, because their love story is just getting started, and the next chapter may surprise you in ways you never imagined. The sunlight danced across Emily's face as she stretched beneath the warm sheets, her smile soft but curious. She could still feel Al's words lingering in the air, playful, but with a weight that made her wonder. "I'm not letting you out of this bed," he had whispered, and though his voice was gentle, there was a spark in his eyes she hadn't seen before. It wasn't just flirtation. It was something deeper, something protective, something almost possessive in the most loving way. But then there was that text. That single message that flickered across his phone screen and stole his focus, even if just for a second. Al sat at the edge of the bed now, staring at his phone in thought. His back muscles tensed slightly beneath his plain white t-shirt, and Emily could tell his mind was somewhere else. She propped herself up on one elbow, brushing her hair from her face, watching him quietly. They had been married for 3 years now, and in that time, they had shared everything: dreams, struggles, laughter, and pain. But this morning, something felt hidden. "Al, you're quiet," Emily said softly, her voice breaking the silence between them. "Tell me what's going on." He turned to her, his eyes warm but guarded. "It's nothing you need to worry about, Em. Just something from work," he said, flashing that easy smile that usually melted away her worries. But not today. Something about the way he avoided her gaze left a trace of doubt in her heart. She trusted him, of course she did. But love like theirs thrived on honesty, and right now, it felt like there was a wall between them. Emily decided not to push him further, at least not yet. Instead, she scooted closer, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind, resting her head against his back. "Okay," she whispered, though her mind was anything but settled. Outside, the world was waking up, the distant sounds of the city filling the quiet apartment. But inside this bedroom, time seemed to slow, caught between a romantic morning and an unspoken tension. Al finally put his phone down, turned, and cupped Emily's face in his hands. His touch was gentle but firm, and when he spoke again, his voice dropped to a whisper, brushing against her skin like silk. "Promise me you'll stay with me today. No meetings. No errands. Just us. Here." And though the words sounded sweet, Emily couldn't help but feel like there was something he wasn't telling her. Something important. But what was it? And why now? The answers would have to wait. Emily could feel it in her chest now, the slight ache of uncertainty. She smiled softly, wanting to believe Al's words, but her heart was whispering questions she couldn't ignore. Al noticed the flicker of doubt in her eyes and kissed her forehead gently, pulling her close. "Just us, remember," he repeated, his voice a little more urgent this time. But no matter how warm his embrace felt, the curiosity tugged at her like a quiet storm brewing in the distance. As they sat together in the quiet bedroom, the faint hum of the city beyond their windows, Al's phone buzzed again. This time, Emily caught the contact name before he could flip the phone over. It read VIP Hook. Her heart skipped a beat. She had never heard that name before, and it didn't sound like someone from work. She didn't want to jump to conclusions, but something about it felt out of place in their otherwise open life. Al noticed her glance, but didn't say anything, choosing instead to tuck the phone beneath a pillow and flash her another reassuring smile. But the smile didn't quite reach his eyes. The rest of the morning played out like a quiet dance. Al made them breakfast, pancakes with blueberries, her favorite, and they talked about simple things, like redecorating the living room or planning their next weekend getaway. But beneath the laughter and stolen kisses, there was a current of tension neither of them could fully ignore. It felt like they were both trying too hard to hold on to something that was slipping between their fingers. Emily decided to distract herself. She opened her laptop to check her emails, telling herself it was just habit, not avoidance. But as soon as she logged in, something strange happened. An email popped up from an unknown sender. The subject line read, "Do you really know who you're sharing your bed with?" Her stomach tightened, and a cold chill ran down her spine. She hesitated before opening it. Inside was just one line, "VIP Hook knows everything." She looked up at Al, who was now humming softly while making coffee, completely unaware that her world had tilted. Emily didn't know whether to confront him now or wait. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe it was someone playing games. But deep down, she felt the shift. Their perfect morning had turned into a puzzle with missing pieces. Meanwhile, Al seemed caught in his own thoughts. Behind his smile, he was wrestling with something heavy. VIP Hook wasn't just a name. It was a reminder of a past mistake, something he thought he had buried long before Emily ever walked into his life. And now it was back, threatening the one thing he cared about most, her. But how much longer could he keep it hidden? And how much did Emily already know? The clock ticked on, each second stretching the space between them, leaving their love story hanging in a fragile balance. The silence between them grew louder as the morning wore on. Emily sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the email, her heart racing. She could hear Al moving around in the kitchen, humming a soft tune like everything was perfectly normal. But nothing felt normal anymore. Her mind kept circling back to the message, "Do you really know who you're sharing your bed with?" The words echoed in her thoughts like a warning she couldn't ignore. She closed her laptop slowly, careful not to alert Al, and stood up, wrapping a light sweater around her shoulders. Her steps were quiet as she approached the kitchen, watching him from the doorway. He was pouring coffee, his back to her, shoulders tense though he tried to appear relaxed. "Al," she called softly, her voice steady but low. He turned, giving her that easy smile again, but she could see right through it now. "What is VIP Hook?" she asked, the words sharp in the quiet room. For a moment, everything froze. The coffee pot in his hand, the city noise beyond their windows, even the sunlight seemed to pause. Ael's smile faded, and for the first time that morning, he looked vulnerable. He set the pot down carefully, wiping his hands on a towel as if giving himself time to think. "Emily, it's complicated," he finally said, voice low but sincere. "It's not something I wanted to bring into our life." But that wasn't enough. She stepped closer, her heart pounding. "You promised me no secrets. You said we're in this together." Her voice cracked, not from anger, but from fear of what she might hear next. Al ran a hand through his hair, pacing the small kitchen. "VIP Hook is someone from my past, someone I tried to leave behind before we met. I thought it was over. I never wanted them to find me again." The words came out rushed, like he had been holding them in for years. Emily's mind spun. Who is this person? What did they want? And why now, when everything had felt so right between them? Just then, his phone buzzed again. This time, he didn't hide it. He picked it up, showing her the screen. A new message. It read, "Last chance. Meet me in 1 hour or she'll know everything." Emily's breath caught in her throat. The room seemed to shrink around them as the reality sank in. Their quiet Sunday morning had turned into something far bigger than either of them had imagined. But what would Al do now? Al locked eyes with Emily, the weight of the message pulling him deeper into the storm he thought he'd left behind. He clenched his jaw, the tension in the room thick enough to cut through. "I have to meet them," he whispered, almost to himself. Emily shook her head, stepping closer, her voice trembling but firm. "No, not without telling me everything first. I won't let you walk into this alone." The vulnerability in her voice made his heart ache, but Al knew this wasn't just about him anymore. Whoever VIP Hook was, they now had the power to tear apart the life they'd built together. Just as Al began explaining, another text buzzed in. This time it wasn't from VIP Hook. It was from an unknown number. "She's watching. Don't trust anyone." Ael's face drained of color. He showed it to Emily, and for the first time, fear flickered in her eyes. "Who else is involved in this, Al? Who's watching us?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. But Al didn't have an answer. His past, which he thought he had buried forever, was now casting shadows over their safe little world. Trying to protect Emily, Al decided to meet VIP Hook alone. He told her to stay behind, to trust him one last time. But Emily, stronger than he gave her credit for, wasn't going to just sit by and wait. As soon as Al left the apartment, she grabbed her coat, slipped on her sneakers, and followed him into the busy New York streets. She wasn't going to lose him, not without a fight. Meanwhile, Al reached the meeting spot, a quiet, dimly lit cafe tucked away between alleyways. It was the kind of place where secrets were shared and forgotten. He scanned the room, his heart pounding. That's when a familiar face caught his eye. Sitting at a corner table, hood pulled low, was Jason, his childhood best friend. Jason, the one person he never expected to see again. Still making promises you can't keep. His voice was sharp, cutting through the quiet room. Suddenly, everything clicked. VIP Hook wasn't some stranger. It was Jason, using a new name, playing a dangerous game. "What do you want, Jason?" Al asked, his fists. "Just leave Emily out of it." Jason laughed quietly, a sound filled with years of bitterness. "It's not. I left that life for good." Emily's heart twisted, torn between betrayal and love. But as she looked at Al, she saw the man who had shared her mornings, her laughter, her dreams. The past was dark, but their love was real. She stepped closer, slipping her hand into his. "We face this together," she whispered. Jason watched them, something shifting in his eyes. He leaned back, sighing. "You've changed, man. Maybe that's punishment enough." With a half-hearted smile, he tossed his phone on the table. "The messages stop now. But remember, your past never really disappears." As Jason stood and walked away, the weight in the room lifted slightly, but only slightly. Al pulled Emily into his arms, holding her close, the world quiet around them. But then, just as they began to breathe again, Ael's phone buzzed one last time. He hesitated, then picked it up. A new message from an unknown number. Jason wasn't the only one watching. The story wasn't over. Not yet. Al stared at the glowing message on his phone, feeling the weight of the unknown settle over him once again. But this time, he wasn't alone. Emily was right there beside him, her fingers laced with his, steady and sure. He sighed and put the phone down, finally realizing that no matter how many ghosts from his past tried to pull him back, his future was already standing right in front of him. Emily gave him a small smile, tired but full of love. "We'll figure it out together," she whispered. And in that moment, the fear lost its grip on him. They left the cafe quietly, stepping back into the busy streets of New York where life continued to rush past them. For the first time that day, they felt free from the shadows. Back at their apartment, they spent the evening wrapped in soft blankets and quiet conversations. Al opened up fully about his past, the mistakes, the regrets, and how meeting Emily changed everything for him. Emily listened, not judging, but understanding. She shared her own fears too, how loving someone so deeply scared her because it meant risking everything. But in the end, they found strength in each other. The final loose thread, the unknown message sender, remained a mystery, but instead of letting it control their lives, they made a choice. They blocked the number and agreed to keep their focus on what truly mattered, their relationship, their happiness, and the life they were building together. The shadows of the past would always exist, but they no longer had power over their future. As night fell over the city, Al pulled Emily close and whispered with a playful grin, "I'm still not letting you out of this bed." This time, the words felt lighter, filled with warmth and safety rather than hidden tension. Emily laughed softly, pressing a kiss to his cheek. The morning's fear felt distant now, replaced by love, trust, and the quiet promise of tomorrow. But somewhere across the city, in the glow of another screen, an unknown figure smiled while watching them through a hacked camera feed. The story might have ended for now, but some secrets are patient. Waiting. Watching. If this story touched your heart or left you wondering what happens next, drop a comment below. Would you want a sequel? Let us know how you feel about Al and Emily's journey. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more romantic suspense stories, and share your thoughts. It means the world to us.